I'm Carcino. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
No one knows Carcino and none of these.
There's so much going on in the world, and I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. Go in and do a raid at someone's house, but you don't have an arrest warrant for them. Oh, we are back and back in black. This should say black man. Well, starting from here, black man. Because that's what this is about. Black man has got to mean something nowadays. You got to put your foot down almost and say, hey, I'm black. You almost got to do that again. Sad. Sad. Once again, Stephen A. has embarrassed the black culture yet again. Why is he even relevant in representing the black culture or even a face from it? I don't know. I didn't anoint his ass. But for some reason, he keeps popping up thinking that he speaks for the black culture every time he opens his mouth. It is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. It is tragic all at the same time. I don't represent all black people. When I speak, it ain't from the whole masses of black people. It's my perspective, my take on the situation. Someone else might think differently than me. Okay? They may have it in their household, what goes around in their whole house. We don't know. We don't live with these people. So we have no bearing on the situation whatsoever, one way or another, right? But it's weird to me, Stephen A. seems to know all. He seems to know all, say all, and do all. And when he talks, we should listen. Why? Banner. Finally, Banner shows up. Like, share, subscribe. The Patreon is Carcino for Life, which is on fire right now. So if you guys are on the Patreon right now, you got some good stuff going on right now. Cash App is Carcino. Thank y'all too for the Cash App. Somebody sent me a very sweet one. That was very cute. I like that. I like that. Now, Carcino is the page you are on right now. In case you didn't know, Carcino for Life. And this is Stephen A. Smith once again doing what he likes to do, tap dancing for Whitey. There's old Stephen A. going to work. So Stephen A. decides in his wisdom, in his brain, to tell us, Diddy is through. Diddy done. But you ain't have none of this smoke for Dana White. None. It was almost like we was at a funeral. Like Dana White was the victim in the whole situation. You have totally changed the whole narrative. You had some somber music. I don't even think you knew how bad it was. It was so bad, y'all had to come back the next day and try to ramp up some energy because it was so embarrassing to be a black person. To see you grovel like that was just disgusting to watch. And it didn't come from just my saying it. It came from all the blacks around the world who saw that and was like disgusted. Like, what the hell? So it didn't make any sense to us why this is going on. Why is this even mattering right now? Why does this guy matter? He shouldn't. These type of guys are designed to do what it is that they do. And that's tap dance for the people. Now, should we be mad at the tap dancer for doing what the tap dancer do? Huh? But the question you need to ask yourself is, why do you entertain it when you have the power? Did that ever cross your mind? You forget you have the power in this situation? Just so y'all wouldn't think I was messing with y'all brains on this, let's take a look. So let's get this in perspective. Let's listen to what he says. Immediately starting it off.
These digital airwaves of YouTube, that the career of Sean P. Diddy Combs, as we know it, it's over. This shit is over. It's over in the worst possible way, one of the worst possible ways you can imagine. These are the latest developments, okay? Exclusive surveillance video obtained by CNN appears to show the music mogul assaulting his then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura at a hotel in 2016. In the video, Combs can be seen striking and kicking Ventura as she tried to leave. I have the video right in front of me. We can't show it to you. We can't show it to you. But I'm watching this with the sound off as we speak. She's walking down the hallway in a hoodie, y'all, clearly trying to sneak out of the hotel room. We see him come sprinting down the hallway in just a towel. That's it. He goes up to her. He snatches her by the neck, yanks her to the ground. She lays there still. Okay? I'm looking at the video. I'm looking at the video while I'm talking to you. He snatches her by the neck, unless this is some lookalike, unless this is some clone, unless this is somebody that's like from Mission Impossible, like Tom Cruise wearing somebody else's face, looking exactly like them when it ain't him at all. Unless it's something along those lines. This is what we're looking at here. And you see the stills right there in the screen. And I get that. But I'm telling you right now, I'm watching this as we speak. And I've seen this video now because I want to make sure I know what I'm looking at. This is about the 10th time that I looked at it. He runs down. He snatches her by the neck. He yanks her to the ground. She lays still. Then he launches a kick towards her like he's kicking a damn field goal. Picks up the vase or whatever she had with her. Kicks her again. Hits her. She lays still. And then after that, he grabs her and drags her down the hallway. And then there's additional video showing him sitting in the hotel room, picking up stuff, throwing it at her. Ladies and gentlemen, I cover sports. Primarily, that's my day job. Remember Ray Rice? Remember what happened? Like 2014 when his girl was in the elevator and she either shoved him or hit him, and then he left hooked her and hit her and knocked her face into the bar inside the elevator. She hit her head to it, and then she laid on the floor unconscious in the elevator, straight up knocked out. And then after that, he didn't even pick her up and he dragged her out of the elevator. This video, allegedly, supposedly, presumably, seemingly, whatever word's appropriate, with P. Diddy, Sean P. Diddy Combs. This is worse. We saw both videos. We saw the video from Atlantic City with Ray Rice years ago. We saw that many times over. We saw the collateral impact it had on the NFL, the world of sports, and beyond, because it heightened a level of sensitivity towards domestic violence and showed that level of awareness to such a degree that it permeates our thoughts and our minds, hearts to this day and age. In this day, ladies and gentlemen, this is worse. I'm looking at the video again. This is worse.
So this was worse than Dana White striking his wife. One time, two times, threw a kick looked like. That was worse. You watched this video 10 times. Damn, this ain't Star Wars. This ain't the House of Cards or House of the Dragon or whatever they doing. This ain't Twilight or whatever series y'all into, the Breaking Bad. This ain't The Sopranos. The hell you need to watch it 10 times for? Did you watch Dana White video 10 times? He was at 10 at that moment. But he didn't possess any of that energy. Not 1 ounce for Dana White. Why? Why? Let's take it back so y'all can have some context.
Dana White is not just somebody that's connected in the world of sports. He's a friend.
Oh,
I love
he's
the
a
guy
friend.
personally.
You love him.
So this is a very hard subject for me. We talk all the time. We certainly connected briefly since this happened. He knew there's no way on earth that I wasn't going to talk about it. My heart goes out to his family because this is a very, very embarrassing situation. He says it has never, ever happened before. He's completely ashamed and utterly disgusted with himself that he finds himself in this situation, that he would ever have done such a thing to a woman he's been married to for 30 years, who's the mother of his 3 children. And he makes no excuses for it. And I think it's important to point that out. I also think it's important to point out that she validates what he asserts, that it's never happened before, that it was completely out of character. And she even pointed to the fact that they were out and they were drinking and all of that other stuff as well. If he hadn't been so hell-bent on coming across to some degree at that point as self-righteous in terms of explaining how honest he was to everybody, Roger Goodell, Steve Bichetti, Ozzie Newsome, and everybody else, had he not done that, I think Ray Rice would have been back with the Baltimore Ravens by now. So he did this to himself because of the violence. He did this to himself because he dimed out the owner of Steve Bichetti. By the way, I don't have a problem with the photo. I don't have a problem. If he was 30, 35, 40 years old, that's different. Right. 14, 15 years old. 14, 15 years old. Right. So now some folks are going to get to look at Jerry Jones, and who's from Arkansas. This is South. So we understand from an historical perspective where it all comes from, what the South represented at least once upon a time, and in some people's eyes still to this day. But then to sit back and talk about how you won't even apologize at the time for it being anti-Semitic because you don't deem yourself to be anti-Semitic. It's just irresponsible. It really, really is. Wow. And so the suspension is warranted. There is no doubt about that. By the way, it's not just a 5-game suspension. It's potentially longer. They said a minimum of 5 games. From what I've been told, Josiah is completely done with him. He's dealing with him because he's under contract and he has to, but he's completely done with Kyrie Irving. And people try to throw out there insinuations that the Holocaust didn't exist, that Adolf Hitler is somebody to be celebrated. You've got a different problem. That's egregious. That's irresponsible. That's wrong. That's uncalled for. That's heinous. That's wrong on so many levels. And to be lost and clueless.
You do the maths. Tick, tock, gun, shot.
Now,
Connected, brief.
Let's stay here because I want y'all to focus. This dude did this with the most sombering voice. Who cares what your relationship to Dana White was? That has no place in the energy you gave Dana White. You never said Dana White's career is over. His wife corroborated, said this is the first time something like this has ever happened. And it's documented. You are a journalist, a former journalist. How are you going to ignore what everybody on YouTube already knows? His own mama got a documentary before the incident even happened, talking about their violent encounters. They had a fight on their wedding night. They had a fight all through their relationships. Dana White has been unfaithful to his wife since they've been married. They've been separated for years. He was living in a place by himself and just going on a whole stroll, banging UFC girls, the whole 9. How the hell do you, Stephen A. Smith, sit there in that chair and do a reckless job of reporting? Oh, because it's what you do now. Oh, that's what you do. You lazy report. You don't know how to do any real commentary. You don't know how to do any real work. Do you know who owns you? The same man that hired you. He grew up down the street. About 4 lights down, make a right. Then it's a cul-de-sac. Then there's a school. Then you go down the street a little bit, make a left, and keep straight down there till you hit Harvest. The man who hired you lived down there. He went to GBS. He's from Glenview. He hired you at ESPN. Then he hired you to come over there to WME. Because now he says you don't have to be in sports anymore. You're not covering sports. You're not a journalist. You're an entertainer. So we're going to get you in WME. I'm over here now. He used to work for Six Flags, which is right over there. But then Six Flags started going down. Mark Shapiro. That's your hero. He's from GPS. I know his sister. Didn't really know his dad too tough, but his sister I knew. She was friends. All of them older than me, but I knew the sister. Mark's older than me. You're older than me. But that's who you report to. I think I need to contact them and say, we got a problem here. What's going on here with Stephen A? Do I got to call your boss? Do I got to call your boss and let you know what time it is? Because your boss, we seem to know your boss. And we know how to get in contact with your boss. I can get in contact with the sister. She'll get him on the phone. And then we'll have a nice little talk. It's a small world. It's a small world, Stephen A. We got to find out what happened to this man. You start bleaching too? What did you do, man? Because you just, for some reason, started tip-tapping. There goes old Stephen A. Go, baby. Go ahead, Stephen. Yeah. Dana White right here. Let's go over this again.
He's a friend. I love the guy personally. So this is a very hard subject for me. We talk all the time. He says it has never, ever happened before. He's completely ashamed and utterly disgusted with himself that he finds himself in this situation, that he would ever have done such a thing to a woman he's been married to for 30 years, who's the mother of his 3 children. He asserts that it's never happened before, that it was completely out of character. And she even pointed to the fact that they were out and they were drinking and all of that other stuff as well.
Why do you keep bringing up drinking?
You know, all I can say is that, again, he has spoken out against men who put their hands on women before, and whatever punishment you would exact under these circumstances to somebody else is what he should apply to himself.
And I don't judge people by their worst moment. I agree with you on that punishment part. And the other piece that I just want to say, as a woman, it was also his wife's hands on him. So no one should be putting their hands on anyone.
Okay.
Male, female, female, male.
Dana White is not just somebody I know in sports, nor you. He's a friend.
Yeah.
I love him. You know, he knows that we're on this air. He knew ahead of time because I reached out to him to let him know I would be talking about this this morning. He knows that he crossed the line that he has never crossed before, and that he swears he will never cross again. And he's incredibly ashamed of himself. And that's just where we are right now. So
I'm not a part of the whole cancel culture, and I don't judge people by their worst moment. And he has a beautiful family.
Yes, he does.
And I wish the best for them.
Yes.
Wow. We don't judge anybody by their worst moments. That's what they do. That's what their whole show is based on. Them judging people on their worst moments. I swear to y'all, this is crazy. It is bizarre that these people actually believe they own BS. I'm serious. Let's look at how they did Von Miller.
Like you would have thought Dana White probably got randomly assaulted by somebody.
Stephen A.
First things first. We don't know all the facts. We heard this report. Obviously, an arrest warrant being issued is a very, very serious matter. Without knowing anything, let's just make sure we make this general statement that everybody at this table will agree with. Keep your hands off women. Do not put your hands on women if you are a man, period. Let's get that out the way. Having said all of that, on a separate issue, there's something going on in the NBA with Josh Giddey. And what I've said and what numerous others have said is we don't know all the facts. So if we have to take that position with him, with allegations of dealing with a minor, and we want to sit up there and say, wait until we have all the facts, same thing to Von Miller. But it does not look good for him to be in this situation. There is nothing good about this for him, nor the Bills, nor society as a whole with all the nonsense that we're having to deal with in this day and age. Do not put your hands on a woman.
Nor
That's all I have
the
to say.
pregnant girlfriend or the future child,
Yes.
if true.
Yes. If
I mean,
true. Yes.
it's again, we don't have the facts. It's disturbing,
disturbing.
especially, you know, the Bills have had sort of issues before with kickers and stuff like that.
Keep your hands to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, come on, you shouldn't even have to be saying these things in this day and age. You would think,
Right.
with all these type of incidences that keep happening, like keep your damn hands to yourself. That is not
Which
where you
we
want.
all condemn.
Yeah,
Realize
well,
the gravity of that.
It's just
No
ridiculous.
matter what the situation is,
You cannot.
you do not touch
Yeah.
a woman.
Wow. Take a look at that. You do not touch a woman, and a woman should not touch a man unless it's consensual. Now, here's the even bigger thing that people need to know and take heed of, right? They kept reiterating, we don't know all the facts, but they keep talking, but we don't know all the facts. So, but here's what you don't do. But we don't know all the facts. You didn't know all the facts with Josh Giddey and did 30 seconds. No facts with Von Miller. You turned that to a 30 minutes plus segment and getting a round table of people to speak about it. But Josh Giddey, we don't know all the facts. And we're done. 30 seconds for Josh Giddey, 30 minutes for Von Miller. Turned out you didn't have all the facts. Had you got it, you would have heard when the wife said it didn't happen like that. His girlfriend, wife, whatever, said it never happened. This thing got blown out of proportion. I never said those words. And they all being printed on news and everywhere else. That stuff ended up on page 3. They didn't want to cover it. And why not? Why not? But let's not stay there. We're not being fair. That's just one case. Let's go to the Colts, the Indiana, what's his name? The owner of the Indianapolis Colts, Jim Irsay.
This is the best way to put this, okay? The man clearly has an issue. If you remember when he had made his remarks about Peyton Manning during the season, prior to Peyton Manning coming up there to play, returning back to Indianapolis to play the Colts, I said that he looked a bit off, and I left it at that. A lot of people at that time looked at me and said, Stephen A., what you trying to say? Because they deferred back to a tweet on October 21st, 2013, when Irsay had tweeted, he has not had a drink in more than 15 years.
Right here, here's a tweet from the Colts owner, Jim Irsay. He said, actually working, sorry, naysayers, I don't drink, haven't in over 15 years. I know when you're unhappy or jealous, it's easy to be mean-spirited.
Well, I think that cat's out the bag, to say the least. Now, clearly the man has an issue, probably needs some help, whether it's alcohol, it's prescription drugs, or whatever the case may be, and God bless him.
And as you can see, Stephen A. Smith say,
God bless this man. God bless that man. Now, Josh and Josh, right? Josh Giddey, we can't talk about. Josh Gordon has a problem with weed. He's addicted to marijuana. He can't stop smoking marijuana. And here's this man, God bless him, when he got suspicion of driving under the influence for possession of a controlled substance. They know what the substance is. They don't want to say it. But when you're a high-profile individual, they don't say you busted for coke, busted for crack. They say a controlled substance. That's what happens when you got money. When you broke, possession of crack cocaine with the intent to distribute, or possession of crack cocaine for personal use. They even put the grams up there. But let's see how old Stephen A. treated old Josh Giddey.
Now it's DWI. I mean, damn.
Right.
I mean, what is it?
Same offense, Stephen A.
You couldn't stay off the weed. Now it's DWI. I mean, damn.
Right.
I mean, what is it? What's next? What's next? I don't know. Codeine, weed, alcohol. I mean, what's next? What's next?
Josh Gordon was 23 when he was charged with the DWI offense.
23.
And this is what Stephen A. Smith says to a 23-year-old.
Now it's DWI. I mean, damn.
Right.
I mean, what is it? What's next? What's next? I don't know. Codeine, weed, alcohol. I mean, what's next? What's next? I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to hear anything about sit there and stay on the weed by constantly coming up with excuses and giving passes to nothing short of flagrant idiocy. No.
So it was an idiocy for a 23-year-old young black athlete to get criticized like that by Stephen A. How old was Jim Irsay when he got arrested for his possession? Oh, man. And the problem is, I'm not mad at Stephen A. I'm not mad. He's doing what Stephen A. Smith does in these situations. As I told you, this is what he does. This is what he's good at. I don't expect anything different from him. Why would I expect anything different from Stephen A? He's doing what Stephen A. Smith does. It's you guys that support it. You got to ask the question of, why are you there? Y'all keep empowering this person. He's doing what he always do. That's what he does. Right there. Get it. Get it. Get it. Get it. So he's doing what he's always done. There's nothing about him that disappoints me anymore, really. He don't represent me. I look at him, I know what he is. So none of that is going to surprise me. It's not going to make me go, oh, what is this? We know what it is. It's Stephen A. Smith. This is what he does. So why is anyone surprised? You see, back when Molly was married to Jalen Rose, let me bring some things to the forefront, just so people could be clear. Let me bring some things to light, okay? Just so that you would know. When she was married to Jalen Rose, he would constantly say, I stay away from that show. I stay out of the circus. But I will help you because you're my wife. So y'all got to address the Chad Wheeler story. They didn't want to make it a priority. They didn't want to make it a big deal. They wanted to talk about it lightly and then move on. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to soft touch the whole situation. Do you want to know what happened? Molly got to cover the situation. They wanted to talk about the Texans and Deshaun Watson over Chad Wheeler and what he done. Can you believe that? They didn't even want to cover it. So Max Kellerman had teamed up with Molly to get this approved and go over the head of Stephen A., who really didn't want to cover this at all, and said, fine, we'll give it 5 minutes. Then we're out of here. There'll be no more Chad Wheeler talk. We got to get to Deshaun Watson in the Texans. Listen.
Take the major storyline today has been the Texans' Deshaun Watson demanding a trade, but I would argue right now that I have a more important story that we need to share with you and report. Former Seahawks backup offensive lineman Chad Wheeler, formally charged Wednesday after his arrest for felony assault, domestic violence. The details, I just want everyone to know at home, are very disturbing. Let me share those with you. Police say Wheeler asked his girlfriend to bow to him, and when she wouldn't, he threw her on the bed and twice strangled her until she lost consciousness. When she regained consciousness for the second time, he allegedly told her, quote, "Oh, you're still alive." The woman fled into a bathroom and called 911. She told police that Wheeler is bipolar and had not been taking his medicine recently. Wheeler was jailed, released on bail, and charged with multiple felonies. Wheeler tweeted an apology to the victim, blaming it on a manic episode, adding that he was walking away from football to get help. The NFL says the incident is under review. Wheeler's contract with Seattle was up, and he will not be returning, per a team source. Max, I'll start with you. Your reaction to the handling of this situation by the Seahawks.
Well, I mean, it's about time.
Max covered it the way a man's supposed to cover it, right? Stephen A. wanted to do this. This is what Stephen A. chose to do. Let's focus on here. I can just let y'all know Max covered it like a man.
Why he still is not in jail, but I do appreciate the fact that he was jailed and charged with first-degree domestic assault, domestic violence, and unlawful imprisonment. I do really appreciate that because that needed to happen. In the bipolar issue, while it's very real, doesn't mean he's not responsible, as Max just so eloquently stated. As it pertains to the NFL, I think what they have to remember, even though
Max had brought it up that we can't use bipolar as an excuse. He just wrote the coattail of Max, but watch what he says.
you let the law, let the justice system take its course. If you're the NFL, just make sure that you're consistent across the board, because the racial component definitely comes into play when people see a white male and then you've been released from jail, but obviously you've got charges against you and that has to be dealt with. But we also want to make sure that the NFL is consistent in terms of how it exacts ramifications against such heinous acts. And I have no doubt that they will be. I have complete faith that the NFL will treat this situation like they would treat any situation.
Wow.
Definitely in this day and age, there's no question about it. But there's really not much to say about this other than it's incredibly sad. It's very, very disturbing. If you saw the photos of her, which I saw about a couple of hours ago, I hadn't seen the photos until a couple of hours ago, Molly, when you texted to me, it's very, very disturbing.
Yeah.
I mean, he beat up. He beat up. You saw bloody nose. You saw marks on her face. I think if I remember correctly, you saw some marks around her neck, etc. He has to be dealt with because you certainly have to dissuade people from even thinking that they can get away with such a thing. You have to deal with this with a very, very heavy hand, understanding that the bipolar issue is a very, very serious issue in this nation and throughout the world. And there's a lot of people. There's a plethora of people. I mean, a buddy of mine that's the star of General Hospital, Maurice Bernard, who plays Sonny Corinthos on the show, has been battling that for years and has written books on it. He's doing stuff on YouTube about it all the time, really highlighting how real and serious that issue is. But guess what? This individual literally tried to harm this woman and said, "Oh, you're still alive. I thought you were dead." My God, that implies you tried to kill her intentionally. He's got to be dealt with. He has to be dealt with.
Yeah. Let me just say two things.
Now, by him taking the approach after Max led the charge, and he had to follow it up with what Max said, that he had to be dealt with, he doubled down again to try to reiterate bipolarism into the conversation. I got a friend, and he's dealing with bipolarism. It's not an excuse. He had to be dealt with, but the bipolar issue. You brought in a condition, still trying to work that angle of the bipolar issue. Dana White, well, alcohol was involved. alcohol, so that means you drink, it's an excuse. Dana White told TMZ the same thing. It's not an excuse. Y'all got called out for doing it. So the next day, y'all came and did the same show over again because y'all got so much hate mail for how soft y'all went on Dana White and go hard on everybody else. And now you got the same guy doing the same thing he always done. Whether it's Jim Irsay, Dana White, Chad Wheeler, Josh Giddey, it's all the same. It's all this somber, all this soft shoe tap dance for them. He even did the same thing for Johnny Manziel. Johnny Football. He did the same damn thing for Johnny Football. I can't make this up. I refuse to make something like that up. Hold up, we got to find that.
Mr. Smith, I'd like to direct this to you. Is this the end of the road for Johnny?
I believe it is. I know one could argue you can't say that with Vince McMahon coming out with something in the AAF, and I guess if that qualifies as a chance, okay.
But Vince says if you have any prior arrests, even a DUI, that you can't be in the league.
Okay, well then that rules out Johnny Manziel. So
That's what he said.
Hold on. Hold on, I'm going to get it for you. Here we go. Johnny Manziel, domestic violence. I wonder what's happening here.
Misdemeanor charge stemming from a domestic violence complaint by his ex-girlfriend and was released on a $1,500 bond. He appeared in court this morning, hours after posting bail. Johnny Manziel had this to say on Twitter, which has since been deleted. Just thankful I had a shirt this time. Manziel was referring to his shirtless mugshot when he was arrested as a freshman in college for carrying fake identification and fighting. Not too funny, Skip.
No.
Where does he go from here?
By the way, Stephen A., before I answer Molly's question, it was another bad sign that apparently Johnny Manziel isn't even taking this misdemeanor charge that he's facing right now in Dallas, Texas, all that seriously. That tweet that he did take down, again, referring to a drunken brawl that he was arrested for at the end of his freshman year at Texas A&M, late at night outside a nightclub near the campus, Texas A&M. This is another sign that he's still operating as if he's Johnny Football. Above it all, who knows? Maybe he even thinks he's above the law right now.
Why? Because it appears that he's receptive to alcohol, potentially receptive to drugs.
Yep.
Johnny Manziel, in all likelihood, is not going to be receptive. Why? Because it appears that he's receptive to alcohol, potentially receptive to drugs.
Yep.
And obviously receptive very much so to partying. And so when those three things are in the way, you're not going to be receptive to another human being because the allure and the attraction of substances and environments are more addictive than counsel from other human beings. It's just that simple. And so when you look at it from that perspective, again, being in court, misdemeanor charge, knowing that he probably was going to get out on bond, $1,500, if I remember correctly,
Yep.
Not to mention the fact that he's not really concerned about going to jail. His whole thing is that I'm going to be free to do what I want to do. So what's the big deal? But what it shows you is how alarmed we should all be, meaning those who care about Johnny Manziel, because we were thinking about him as the football player. He supposedly wants to play football, but his behavior makes him nuclear. It means that no one is going to touch him. And when it comes to the National Football League, seeing a tweet like that, 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, executives in the NFL are going to react just the way you did. They're going to look at something like that, and they're going to say, he still doesn't get it.
Yep.
We don't need him here. So in the end, what this comes down to is not only Johnny Manziel needing to get the help that he needs, but it's also the NFL, the Players Association, and beyond, working in concert with one another to make sure he gets the help he needs from them, not just by ensuring that he goes and gets legitimate help, but they can also help him by ostracizing him from their product, their brand. You have to literally contribute to that rock bottom feeling he must touch before he sits there and tries to resurrect himself. Because as you have told me on many, many occasions, you know this through your family experience with alcohol. I know this through friends and family experiences with drugs. You usually have to hit rock bottom before you elevate yourself. And it appears he hasn't done that yet.
No.
So sometimes that tough love is necessary. And what you have to do is facilitate the rock bottom feeling in a sense where it doesn't jeopardize his life. Yeah, we're going to ostracize you. We're going to help you. But at the same time, you're not going to be allowed to play football. You're not going to be allowed to do this, that, and the third. Because if you give him that kind of tough love while not throwing him to the wolves, then ultimately you have a shot at resurrecting him. The same thing may ultimately end up being required of Josh Gordon and others. My only problem with all of this, and it's not a problem per se, it's my problem. I just wish the best for Johnny Manziel, just like I wish the best for Josh Gordon. Johnny Manziel comes from an affluent background per se. Am I accurate in saying that, Skip? Yeah. I believe I am. Okay. He's going to be all right as long as he's alive, because he'll have a roof over his head, food on his plate, clothes on his back. Yet here we are periodically attempting to come to the aid of Johnny Manziel, while there are so many others who don't come from such a background, who don't have that figurative cushion. And we don't talk about them nearly as much as we should. And they may very well be more worthwhile than Johnny Manziel is.
Now, here he talked like a man with sense, right? Look how delicately he talked about Johnny Manziel, a man who just got arrested for domestic violence. He talked about Johnny Manziel like Johnny Manziel was a human being, a person who should get help, not ignoring what he did and his responsibilities. But for him, he's acting, he basically gave a breakdown of characteristic behaviors and all of these things. This man eventually continued to go on till he got banned by the NFL. And they still was, I hope he gets the help he needs. Even here, he says, I wish Josh Gordon and all those other guys well. But when you speak on the subject with Josh Gordon, it's always in theatrics, never about him acquiring the help he needs. Never about that. It's always about, you're stupid. You should have owned the weed. What else? What else? All this animation when it comes to us. Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Von Miller, right? The list goes on and on. Now it's P. Diddy. Who else is going to be next? We see the patterns. So it's not a coincidence that this is happening, people. You know who this man is. It's your fault. I blame you, the people, because you tune in to watch that man. You know how they say, if you don't like him, what the hell are you watching him for? I don't watch him. People send me a clip and say, you see what he done? Did you see? Did you see? Did you see? But he knows what he is. I hate talking about him. In actuality, anybody who knows me knows I hate talking about this guy because I find him disgusting. But I know what he is, so it don't surprise me. Anything about that man just don't surprise me. I know what he is. You see? That's what he is. And now, when you see him in full splendor, you have to ask yourself, why do you keep committing and giving power to those who enable you? This is why you got the Wilborns out there. The Wilborns, do you think they sit there and say, oh, Wilborns, they brought in all this. Mike Wilborn brought in all the brothers. He's looking out for blacks. No, he's looking for the blacks that's ready to do the whole tap dance. They ready to tap like you. He looking for more you. And he gonna train you to go out there and rope in more yous. They don't want no Jalen Roses. No, can't have that. Jalen Rose is too dangerous. Can't have him. He's too dangerous. You don't need a dangerous man in the way. You need the soft-spoken brother that's going to get it. That's going to tap dance. A brother going to be, what the hell? They want me to say what? This? They want me to say this? I'm not saying that. Who want me to do this? The producers? Oh, hell no. We ain't finna talk about what they just did. Well, we don't know all the facts. Hell, we ain't know all the facts last week about dude. We did about 3 hours, 3 whole segments dedicated to it. We still don't know the facts. We ain't even got the police report. Well, with this, it's delicate. What's delicate about this? You got caught with drugs and prostitutes. You don't get no more cut and dry like that. Well, he has family, and they might be affected by this. Damn, the dude he ain't got no family. I'm just saying with this one, I just don't know all the details. It's just delicate, and they just want to keep it light. So they know what's going on over there. Come on, man. Is you gonna play ball? Or what they say, what Bean say, get down or lay down. Either you gonna get down or you gonna lay down. Which one is it? Oh yeah. So I'm up out of here. Remember, they ain't like us.
Debo, any rap nigga, he a free throw. Man down, call like Amber Lambs, tell him breathe, bro. Nella nigga to the cross, he walk around like Tizo. What's up with these jabroni? Why you trolling like a bitch? Ain't you tired? Trying to strike a chord, and it's probably A minor. They not like us. 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 They not like us.
Shouts out to Kwame Brown, Bus Life, Ticket TV. Welcome to HDII TV, Jag Sports with Jose Rodriguez. I'm